I already told him many times, but I just love his voice. Feels like I'm talking with Sean Bean.
You bastard. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. It's been a while, about a month since we last did one, but we've had many issues. I'm on my path to conquering the world. Alessio's making pizzas. Francesco, new person. You can only see his face for now. He daren't show his face on camera, so you see a picture of him looking like a Viking serial killer. Which, no
Thank
difference.
you. This is a compliment for me.
There you go. So, yeah, you get to see my lovely face in person, which you sad poor bastards. But anyway, we've got a few topics. It's been a while. We've just done with Gamescom. That's not in person, sadly, so no trip to Cologne for me. We're going to talk a bit about Halo Infinite and the fact that Halo, and then February next year. Too many games. Way too many games are getting released. I don't have time for it all. So, Gamescom. We've got the new person in the podcast. Francesco, you can get started on Gamescom.
I was more impressed by what they didn't show, to be honest.
I was very impressed by Grand Theft Auto 7 too.
No, I meant there's a lot of talk about Elden Ring, no?
Yeah.
And no showing, and 2 days later they dropped the previews. So I was expecting to see that, especially since it's not that far from release. But yeah, From Software likes to hide stuff from us.
Yeah, I wonder if it's partly to do with the Bandai Namco as well, their own schedules.
Yeah, probably because they have Tales of Arise coming this month, so they probably wanted to focus more on that. I was actually impressed of that performance they had, that for a series that they weren't localizing games 15 years ago. Now it's all become popular, so I'm actually quite happy about that. Yeah. It was pretty much being ignored in the West. I don't know why. Maybe it was because they were releasing 2D games, and they are very good. I hope they will bring them eventually.
Yeah,
because they're very good. But everything else, it's probably because it's not like my taste, like Halo. Okay, Halo is cool, but I don't really play that kind of stuff. So it's a bit. I prefer what we saw at the E3, to be honest. It was more. It was closer to my tastes.
How about you, Alessio? Go on.
It wasn't a great Gamescom by any means, I'd say. But of course, overall there were a few games that are probably going to be quite good or even great, and I'd say out of the new announcements, perhaps the Marvel Midnight Suns is one of the standout for me, because of course it had been rumored for quite a long time, but it's interesting because even though it's being made by Firaxis, the same team behind XCOM, it's not actually going to be XCOM Marvel, as they said. It's going to be more like Mass Effect cross XCOM in the Marvel's supernatural dark side of the universe. So it's basically going to be a lot more like a traditional RPG, of course, turn-based combat, but you will basically talk a lot with the characters, form friendships and the like, as you would in an RPG,
Yeah.
So that's you're even actually going to move around in third person in the player hub, mission hub, basically. So that's another thing that wasn't, of course, in the XCOM games.
Yeah.
So also they said that
I was just thinking that it was in one of the XCOM games, that really shit shooter
yeah,
version.
that was not really
remembered that then.
XCOM. Yeah,
No, what was it called now? XCOM.
Declassified, something like that.
Something like that.
Bureau, yeah,
Wasn't that a spin-off? I think
Yeah, it was
it
still
was
an
the
XCOM
mainline
bit.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a spin-off.
They announced. I remember they announced it first, and then like everybody was in uproar. So then they like about a month later they went, "Oh, by the way, we're making a proper XCOM game too. Please buy the shooter."
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, there were a few like minor announcements. For example, there is a new football game that was announced
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
on the opening night live, and I'm actually trying to get an interview, so stay tuned for that on the website. But
I have a few questions.
okay, like
Well, first, they're obviously saying it's going to be fair. So does that mean they're not going to include all the shitty gambling mechanics in FIFA and PES? Does that mean they're not going to rely on milking young children out of every bit of penny that their parents and they will have in forevermore?
Hmm.
So just
the-
things like that.
yeah, it's an interesting question. Although I think it will be free to play as a business model. So unless it's really, really heavy on the just cosmetic stuff, I don't know. But
Yeah, we'll see.
yeah, interestingly, it's going to be like, of course, they said they don't have the licenses for the clubs, you know.
Yeah, they've got a
They,
certain number of licenses, though, haven't they?
yeah, they've got the licenses for the footballers' names.
Yeah.
So they basically you're going to build your own club, your own team with the names of the real footballers.
Yeah.
So that's like a fantasy league or something. That's what they're going for. So it could be interesting. And also there were a few more, like Souls-like games are going are going
I
very
am
popular.
shocked. I am shocked. It's not like we've
Uh,
not seen 50 a year since
Yeah.
since
This is
Dark
this is
Souls.
going to be a bubble.
yeah,
Because a lot of them play the same.
Some of them,
They play
it
the same.
depends. They need a good narrative and world building. Some of them can be good. Yeah, then just need something to stand them apart. It's
Yeah,
oh,
a lot of these games is just stamina bar, stamina combat, and they think they've made a Souls game. I think Neo is the series that managed to go beyond that.
yeah.
To be honest, I think it's the only one. I like those games, but it's been there, done that every time.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I
the
get
Surge
tiring
was
after a
quite
while.
interesting because it had that different sort of world, same as
Yeah,
Remnant.
that too.
But yeah, when you're looking at that, you've got, it's just a weird one. And probably the closest, I would say, when you look at a bit, it's 2D, it's Blasphemous. That was really good.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
most of these games just they need
Shit.
something else. Otherwise, we're going to get clones upon clones,
But the
and
problem
then no
is,
one will make them anymore.
are we going? Yeah, I'm going to say we've got to worry about Elden Ring. I mean, at least that's got the actual developers behind it, so chances are it's going to be good. But yeah,
Yeah, well, I see they are introducing a lot of different stuff, stealth, open world. So
yeah,
at least they are trying to change their formula.
yeah.
and also
Another Dark Souls wouldn't have cut it because right now everyone's playing them. It's not like when Demon Souls released that no one knew about them.
I knew. I imported Demon Souls from Hong Kong. I am a master.
Yeah, I did the same because I used to play Kingsfield. I probably one of the 10 people in the world that played Kingsfield.
I played
So
it. Well.
I was kind of ready for that.
Yeah.
no, but the interesting tidbit that's come out of the previews, I think, is that it's going to be more accessible, which doesn't mean it's going to be easier, but basically you're going to have more choice in how to approach every situation. So maybe you're not prepared to go face head on, your enemies and go through the main gate, but
I'm
you
just
can
ready to
go.
hear all the things on Reddit. Geek good, geek good. You are all noobs. Geek good. Fuck off. There's nothing wrong with games having an easier mode or more accessibility.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not going to have an easier mode, but it does have more accessibility, I think, in basically everything. Also, there is kind of fast travel in the map, open world, right, Francesco?
Yeah, they'll class that as easy
Yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
So-
But to be honest, they're not difficult. The only From Software game I found really difficult is Sekiro, because you can level up and you have to learn the bosses, the parry patterns.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I replayed all Dark Souls recently, and I just breezed through them. Yeah, I know. I knew pretty much everything, but it's just that you need to learn. You need to learn the mechanics, and if they explain that, then probably that is what they're going to do with accessibility.
You need to get good, Chris.
Geek good. Hey, I can play the Dark Souls. I've played all the Dark Souls. As I said, I played Demon Souls before it was popular.
Yeah, but Demon Souls is very easy. Sorry that I say that
I don't
again.
think it was
But
that
Demon
easy.
Souls is very easy. I replayed the PlayStation 5 remake.
Oh yeah, the
and I was
remake is
surprised
easier.
how easy.
I
remember
mean
the original.
the original.
To be honest, I don't remember it much.
Yeah,
but
the original PS3 version was harder than the remake.
okay, I don't remember it. It's been a long time. But remake was very easy. I think I only died against the Tower Knight. I think. Just breeze through. Yeah, it's pretty easy to be honest. But it's not From Software, so they're excused this.
Yeah.
But say, I think you're both fans of Pokemon style games, right? More or less.
Pokemon. Let's do it.
Yeah,
I am.
kinda.
I played all the Pokemons. Don't get me wrong. I still butcher Nintendo for the fact that they just keep releasing 2 versions of the same game to milk money, and their fans are stupid.
I mean, I'm asking mostly because one of the most popular, games that were showcased at Gamescom this year is a Pokemon-like game, Dokev from Lapis.
Yeah.
It made, like, I think the official trailer is at 6.5 million views already. So it was popular. So what do you think about it?
It's weird. There's quite, because I keep hearing about some of these things. Duckev could be good. I mean, it all depends how. The thing about making a Pokemon-like game, because what was the MMO style one that was released a year? Well, it's still in early access, essentially. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but I remember this.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I can't remember the name, and I played it and I reviewed it, but it's content. That's the issue. You've got to have a decent world, and you've got to have a decent amount to keep you coming to. Dokev, if it doesn't launch with that, people will play it, and then they'll
it's
lose
Temtem, by
interest.
the way. Yeah,
Temtem, that's the one. Yeah, Temtem. It was good while it lasted, but once you've hit all the content, and then all you've got left to do is grind, then there's no real enjoyment in it. And if Dokev could be good. It looks different. It's got that different style to it, but it all depends if they've got the content.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, eye-catching
Yeah.
because it's kind of a weird world, because it's basically like set in the modern world. I think there are also some South Korean references to the local culture.
And don't get me wrong. When I get the chance, I'll play it. I'll preview it. I'll review it. But it's just a case of let's see.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't have the Pokemon name, so it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just People think Pokemon, and everything else is just, it's not Pokemon.
Yeah, the closest you can get to something that works like Pokemon that people know of is
Digimon.
well, there's Digimon
Like,
as well, but I was thinking,
yeah.
what's that game where you collect all the spirits and things?
Ooh.
Oh, it's on the Switch, and I can't remember now. It's another Nintendo. Yokai Watch.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah, but I think they kind of gave up with that in the West. I think they
Yeah, yeah,
localized one of the games very, very late.
yeah. The local, I think it was a few of them, but yeah, that's the closest you can get
Yeah.
of big names.
Okay. And then also one of the big news at Gamescom, although we had already rumors about it, but it was the delay of Horizon.
Yeah,
So what do you think about it?
I've got no issues. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I've been like a month ago when we last did the podcast. I've been saying it for such a long time now. Games are just getting delayed thanks to COVID, and Horizon's going to be no difference. It's when they were working from home. There's the issues of infrastructure issues, passing massive amounts of data between person to person to make sure everything's running as needed and everything's up to date. But yeah, a few months delay. That's no big deal.
Yeah. I think pretty much everyone is now worried of having another Cyberpunk 2077 situation. So I think they're
Right,
playing it safe and just delaying to avoid that, because I think that changed a lot of things.
and rightfully so, because Cyberpunk was
Yeah.
such an atrocious launch, and I mean, I've heard things from things I can't really pass on source wise or anything, but I've just heard that Cyberpunk was quite damaging to CD Projekt Red. It made money, but then it's when you look at how much they spent in the long run on such as Keanu Reeves and on the development and then on the refunds, and then the damage to their reputation after the fact, and it's still damaging them. The fact is that Cyberpunk's had nothing since launch, whereas at this point in time for Witcher 3, you already had some really decent free updates.
Yeah, they just added 3 cosmetics, I think, last month.
Yeah, that's it, and
Sorry,
that is
only last month.
yeah, it's just took them that long to do that. Whereas, yeah,
And it's still not fixed. I played that the other day and I still find bugs.
I haven't
On
even
PC, by the way. So I
yeah.
can't imagine.
I mean, I'm on the
console
PC
use.
and I haven't launched it in so long.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that I'm more regarding Horizon, it's been basically 5 years since the first game released. So I'm wondering, yeah, of course there was COVID, but at the same time, I mean, even this sequel, it's not going to be revolutionary in terms of gaming features.
Well,
Uh,
do we know what's going in? They may have some surprises for us when it launches.
yeah, sure, but from
Uh,
what they've said, it should be an evolution, basically more than a revolution. So what I'm getting at is, are we going to have to wait 4 to 5 years for every AAA game, even if it's just a regular sequel without too much difference from the previous game?
I suppose the thing is, if you want, so a lot of praise I had for Horizon Zero Dawn, and that was 4 years from them releasing Killzone Shadowfall to making Zero Dawn, which obviously was a brand new game.
Yeah.
A lot of my praise was the fact that that world felt lived in, whereas anybody can say, well, look at these open world games that get made in 2 years' time, pointing at Ubisoft games. But the simple reality is, it's it's easier to make an open world where you just copy and paste random shit everywhere and just pop down, feathers or artisanal cakes for people to collect and just make side missions which don't mean anything. Horizon had that feeling where everything it had some elements of that where you were fighting in outposts, but even the tower climbing where you're climbing up the monsters and working the mechanical beasts, it felt so much more lived in and it felt like it had a purpose to be in an open world and all the content that was there. So I'm willing to give Guerrilla I'm willing to give them that sort of benefit of the doubt. If Forbidden West comes out and it's like it is just Zero Dawn but with a paint over and just a new map, then I won't be so kind to it. But if it's what I think it's going to be, and if it is an evolution, not a revolution, there's no real issue with that. A brand new map, a new world to explore. Yeah, that's not a bad thing. It's just how it comes out. We'll see.
Francesco?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Chris. I think there are some stuff that probably the stuff they're making that is taking a little bit more time. I don't know if I'm correct, but I think you can fly now. So that probably needs some time.
Yeah,
you can do that in the original. So but I agree with Chris. It's an open world that feels like it should have been an open world game because it wouldn't have worked any other way. And the collectible stuff it's there, but it's not that much.
It's more built into the world design. It's more
it makes sense. Everything they've done makes sense. Even the expansion is as good as the main game. And usually we can't say that about open world DLC because they're just put together on the fly. And
I say you often can't say that about open world games in full. The amount of shit.
Yeah, right. yeah. Sorry, I was thinking about the Assassin's Creed expansion, especially the ones for Valhalla. The first one was quite good. The Siege of Paris, not so much. It was basically the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
So
there is also the possibility, just to throw it out, that Guerrilla could be working. They might not have the full studio working on Forbidden West. They may have a part of the studio working on a future game to come out. We haven't seen anything from Killzone since 2013.
Yeah, well, I think there was some rumor to that end, possibly. I'm not sure.
So,
but,
yeah. And again, Horizon was only announced in 2020.
Yeah, actually, now that I recall, actually, I wrote a rumor post about this. It seems like they've been working on a separate and announced game since 2018. So, yeah.
There you go. That could be the thing.
Hopefully it's a Killzone reboot because personally I'm quite a fan of the setting at least. But yeah.
So since we're talking about Gamescom and games that are going to be coming out soon, we'll move on to games coming out early next year soon. But let's talk Halo.
Yeah.
You had a lot of opinions here, Alessio. Let's hear them.
Well, it's it's been a troubling development phase for this game. That's for sure because as you know, it's been quite a few years since Halo 5.
Yeah.
Which in itself wasn't received perhaps as well as they were hoping. And they've been making a brand new engine, the Sleep Space engine. So of course that took some time, but Halo Infinite was originally going to be released last November, alongside the Xbox Series.
Yeah.
And now they've delayed it, and another small delay to early December. But the worst thing is that neither co-op nor the Forge mode are going to be at launch. So basically, co-op, they said it's going to be added in about 3 months' time, and Forge in 6 months. And both of these features were quite core to the Halo experience. Since many installments. I think dating back to Halo 2 at least.
Yeah, it's not a good sign that.
So it's not. Of course, they're saying we don't want to ship them until they're ready, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the question is at this point, why aren't they ready after all this time? It's not like they are lacking resources, right? It's Microsoft, and it's one of their biggest IPs, so I don't think it's an issue of lack of resources.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's I was quite the Halo fan back in the day. When the first trilogy launched on the original Xbox and then the Xbox 360. But I think it's they have failed to evolve. I think in a way that makes it as relevant as the best shooter games nowadays.
Which is also ironic because Halo was called Combat Evolved.
Yeah, that's true. But of course, I'm still, hoping that this game will turn out to be better than expected.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed. Actually, at least for the multiplayer mode, the tech preview feedback was quite good, I think. So perhaps that part at least will be, well made. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the positive note for Microsoft, I think, is that not everything is riding on Halo anymore, because they have other games that are coming
eventually
this fall. Not just even this fall, because they have they have Forza, they have Age of Empires 4.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Age of Empires.
So, and also they just released Psychonauts 2, even though it's not an exclusive because it was made before the
purchase.
Before the purchase, but it's been reviewed very, very well. So I'd say it's starting to pay off. The purchases.
It will pay off more when they've actually got them as exclusives more than anything.
Yeah, of course. But I think. Yeah,
and I think that leads us quite well onto what's coming next year more than anything. And like Microsoft have got one massive game coming out November next year, which is Starfield. But I think the big issue is, which everybody seems to be noticing now, the first 3 months of next year are very busy. Very busy. Well, you've got Elden Ring, Pokemon Legends, Rainbow Six. They're all in January. Rainbow Six is predicted for January. No exact date announced. February, we've just talked about Horizon. Saints Row remake. Evil Dead, if you big, maybe we'll see. For MMO players,
expansion.
Guild Wars 2 expansion, and then more than likely, we know there's Marvels, which is again to be announced but predicted there, and WWE. So there's some big games in the first 3 months, and then further down the line, there's some which haven't been given release dates, but they are predicted early on. Diablo Immortal, Ghostwire Tokyo, which again Microsoft, because it's Bethesda, but it's a PlayStation exclusive in console. That is. I don't know. There's a lot of games.
Yeah. Which
many.
ones?
We get this every 2 years. We get something like this.
I think.
I think.
Go on.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think COVID's really pushed this as well because, again, games that were meant to be releasing this year have been set back.
Yeah. I think it was like a couple years ago, 3 years ago, that everything came from January to March, and then 2 months, nothing.
Yeah.
I don't remember when it was, but it was pretty recent. It just happened.
There was that
this year.
There was that time where Ubisoft had quite a few games. They had Far Cry. Was Far Cry New Dawn, was it? And there was quite a few games coming out at roughly the same time then.
Yeah, I think it was 2018. I think.
Yeah, and also this year so far, at least, Capcom is missing because Capcom also likes to release games in the first part of the year. Recently.
Yeah, they've Are they releasing Monster Hunter Rise in the early part of next year on the PC?
Yeah, I think it's the only thing they have somewhat scheduled.
But I'd say overall, we can say that some time ago, especially in January, there wasn't so much in terms of releases. But lately, it's been increasing, right?
I'm blooping.
So yeah, I'd say there's a lot of games coming up, and even though some have been delayed, there's still plenty to play in the meantime, right?
Yeah. Oh, tons.
Yeah.
Absolute shed loads.
Not enough time, though.
You're telling me?
Not enough time.
I don't have the time to play games I want to play. The only game I'm saying the only. I finally did Humankind, and that took me so long. Food poisoning and some other things, which didn't work well. So I ate some bad food. That didn't go well for me. And then other things added on, so Humankind finally came out. There's a few games I want to do, which I'm going to get out as soon as I can. But then on top of that, the only game I've been playing for fun, and I haven't really been playing it because you don't actually play it, is Football Manager. It's just a game that you can have in the background while you're doing whatever else. So it plays to itself.
Okay.
Though, my success of Football Manager, I've got a team from the conference. I'm now in Division 1. I will get them to the Premier League.
Okay.
And I've just signed Danny Welbeck on a free transfer, and he's shit.
Okay. Okay. Francesco, what are you playing? Beside the embargoed stuff, of course.
Yeah, I can't talk about that.
Well, you can talk about it if the embargo is before like 2:00 on Tuesday.
No, I can't talk about it.
Oh.
It's far. It's not very close.
Oh.
Actually, there are two of them, but yeah, I can't talk about either of them.
Right, yeah.
And what I'm playing for my own enjoyment is Guilty Gear Strive. It's still I wasn't a big Guilty Gear fan before because it was way too complex and there was never anyone online, horrible netcode, that kind of stuff. But with Guilty Gear Strive, they hit the netcode right, and it's really fun to play. I did put Street Fighter 5 on the side after my 2,000 hours on it. It dethroned the king.
2,000 hours?
Yeah, I have 1,300 hours on PC and another 800 on PlayStation 5.
No wonder you've got no chuffing time.
Yeah, well, these were made years ago. I had more time years ago. Now I don't have as much. Yeah, it's just that me and fighting games and 2D fighting games we're just a match made in heaven.
Fair play. What about you, Alessio?
Well, actually, I've begun playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla because there is a Gamescom promotion where you can basically get Ubisoft Plus for €1. So I said, let's just do it and give it a try.
Yeah.
So yeah, so far it is quite good, but I'm also still at the kind of beginning, when you just set out of Norway and go to England to raid the shores of Greece.
You don't want to raid my shores. I have ways to stop you. Just 1 second. I have ways to stop you.
What, with whiskey?
No, I've got this. I have a
wow,
sword.
Nice.
I have a replica Roman sword, which I've had since I was young.
That's called a gladio,
Yeah, well, I can't. Yeah, gladio. Well, I've got a replica one.
The question is, why do you have that?
It was when I was at college. I was on a college trip to York, and York's got a sword shop, and I wanted a sword.
Yeah, I saw that. and they said no photos. You had to. If you take photos without buying, you have to pay for the photos. I remember that.
Yeah, well, I bought. I was the only person riding back on a college trip with a sword.
Well, okay, I'd say
Come at me, Alessio. Come at me.
No raids.
you're the defender of England.
I have whiskey and sword.
Okay, we'll leave you alone then.
Good.
Uh,
God.
okay.
So, police are going to end up watching this video now sometime and just be like, "Why the fuck's he got a sword?" If anybody asks Mr. Policeman, it is not for stabbing; it is for decoration.
Yeah, you're just a cosplayer.
Oh no, nothing like that. It's just decoration.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Does anyone else have anything to add about Gamescom, about life? I don't know.
I think I'm all sorted.
No.
I didn't really watch a massive amount of Gamescom again due to work and everything. So I played a lot of catch up. I caught the things I really wanted to see. So Age of Empires, I love Age of Empires. Horizon, again, I'm a big fan of the first, so I'm willing to give the second the benefit of the doubt. So we'll see. There's a lot to look forward to though.
Yeah.
And let's all not forget that Activision are evil, evil people. Oh, still aren't looking after their people. And also, just because I have to throw it in, Ubisoft still aren't listening to their employees too.
Okay. Did you read that they're changing the name of an Overwatch character who was named after the developer? One of the developers that were in the...
Yeah, but these are only small things. Same as getting rid of what's his face, the Cosby Suite guy, from getting rid of his character from World of Warcraft. It's all images until you actually fundamentally change the mentality of the studios, till you make sure that the people who are going around sexually assaulting and harassing people are fired and ideally reported to the police, then I don't give a shit if you change the name of a character. That doesn't help people.
Yeah, right. So, yeah.
I know, I'm on my soapbox.
Let's hope they do that, for everyone's sake.
Yeah, certainly. Most certainly.
Well, okay. I'd say...
Yeah. Anything from you, Francesco? Your first podcast?
Yeah, I think we said everything that we had to say.
How did it feel to be a part of this, with the glorious Chris on the
no
video?
camera on.
I already told him many times, but I just love his voice. Feels like I'm talking with Sean Bean.
You bastard.
Yeah, it's been fun. We just need to get things rolling more in the future. Just get used to the small conversation. But yeah, it's fun.
All good.
Okay.
Anything finally from you, Alessio? Or shall we call it a day?
Let's call it a day. Let's leave our players to play more time and just check back with us next week.
Indeed. Right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next time. And it won't be a month's delay. We've got things sorted now. We've got people. We've got the bearded man at the side of us.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Right. Have a good one all.
Bye.
Bye.